I'm not going to lie, Phoenix had me staring at the screen like, what did we just watch? Because NASCAR might be in panic mode after Ryan Blaney's wreck-filled win turned into a night of destroyed cars, weird tire failures, and drivers not holding back anymore. And if you only saw the highlights, you missed the real story. Because this wasn't just Blaney winning at Phoenix. This was a race where the garage looked like it was getting hit from every direction at once. Violent crashes. A controversial wreck involving Joey Logano and Chastain that led to a scary hit for Austin Cindric, teams dropping like flies with tire issues during a bizarre caution, and even Blaney himself snapping at his own number 12 crew after repeated pit problems. So in this video, we're breaking down exactly why Phoenix exploded, what happened, who said what, why drivers were furious, and what it could mean for NASCAR going forward. And yes, we're going to get to that Logano crash and the tire situation, because those two moments might be the loudest warning signs NASCAR has seen all season. Coming into Phoenix, the entire season already felt tilted. Tyler Reddick in 23-11 came in with all the momentum in the world. The new format has made points feel heavier every single week, and Phoenix is the kind of place where you can get your day ruined in half a lap, even when you're doing everything right. So the vibes were tense before the green flag even dropped. And then the race started, and within hours it felt like the sport hit fast forward straight into chaos. Ryan Blaney wins a wreck-filled Phoenix race, but nobody leaves happy. Ryan Blaney ends up winning. But this wasn't one of those clean, dominant, best car all-day wins. This was survival. And the reason people are calling NASCAR in panic right now is because the win didn't quiet the noise. It amplified it, because Phoenix didn't feel like a normal race, where the fastest guys settle it. It felt like a race, where the track, the tires, the cautions, and the crashes were all fighting to be the headline at the same time. Even Blaney, the winner, had to deal with so much mess that it honestly looked like the number 12 team was trying to win with one hand tied behind their back. And that leads us into the first big lash-out moment of the night. Blaney scolds his own team after multiple pit road mishaps. At one point, Blaney is literally having to manage race-winning speed and pit road chaos. And it got to the point where he just snapped on the radio. Blaney hit his team with, "I can't do this all day." And if you've watched Blaney for years, you know he's not usually the guy who turns every little mistake into a blow-up. So when he is saying that, you know the pressure inside that car was real. Because here's what makes it worse. This wasn't a one-time issue. It was the feeling that the number 12 kept getting tripped up while they were trying to close out a race that was already chaotic enough. And that's why Blaney's win almost feels like it came with a warning label. Yes, we won, but this can't keep happening. Now, if Blaney's frustration was internal, the next part of the story was way more public, because the crashes were so violent that drivers didn't even have time to hide how angry they were. This was one of those wrecks where you don't even process it at full speed until the replay hits. Joey Logano and Allmendinger get together, and Logano's number 22 ends up destroyed in what people immediately called a violent wreck, and Logano didn't exactly shrug it off. He said, "I hate it for my guys. It's just hard. It's hard when you've got someone, Allmendinger, that just came down the racetrack into the side of you." Then he adds the line that tells you exactly where his head was. May want to take a look at that one, but I don't know. That's not just frustration. That's Logano basically saying, NASCAR, are we just letting this go? And the reason this matters is because Phoenix is already a tight, physical track. Drivers expect leaning, rubbing, contact. But when the wreck becomes that violent, that's when the conversation shifts from hard racing to, what are we doing here? And it didn't stop there, because Logano ended up in the middle of another moment that turned the race into a safety talking point. Logano wrecks Chastain, and it leads to a scary hit for Austin Cindric. This was the sequence that made the whole garage feel tense. Logano gets into Chastain, and it triggers a crash that ends with Austin Cindric taking a scary hit, and immediately the blame talk starts. On the radio, Logano said, "Yeah, he did come down and hit me. I didn't just decide to turn him." That's the key line. Because Logano is not just saying racing incident, he's saying, don't put this on me. And when the end result is a hit that looks scary, that's when NASCAR starts getting squeezed from both sides. Fans want drama, but they don't want guys taking terrifying impacts. Drivers want hard racing, but they also want consistency in what's acceptable. So by this point, you've got pit road frustration from the winning team. You've got a wreck that destroys the number 22. You've got another incident that leads to Cindric taking a shot. And then Phoenix throws in the weirdest part of the night. NASCAR Cup teams drop like flies with tire issues during a bizarre caution. This is where the NASCAR panic vibe really took off. Because it wasn't just one car, It was multiple teams suddenly dealing with tire issues, flat tires, and crews reacting like they were trying to save their day from something nobody fully understood in the moment. One report described teams dropping like flies, with drivers pitting from top 10 positions because they didn't trust the tires to last. And when tire issues start hitting multiple cars, in a short span, the entire race becomes a question mark, because drivers stop racing the track and start racing the fear of being the next one. Even Goodyear ended up responding afterward, saying the recommended tire pressures weren't guesses. And that's the part NASCAR hates, because when the tire conversation becomes the headline, the actual racing gets pushed into the background, and Phoenix already had enough chaos without adding tire mystery on top. Now here's where it gets even more intense. Even with all of this chaos, some guys still had monster days, and their reactions tell you exactly what Phoenix felt like from inside the car. The post-race reactions. This one stings, and all good things must come to an end. Let's start with the guy who looked like he might have had the race in his hands. Christopher Bell finishes second after leading a ton of laps. And you can hear the frustration, but also the maturity in how he handles it. He says, yeah. I mean, ultimately, if we had more green flag laps, I think we could have, made a run at them. But I don't know. You win some, you lose some. And this one, this one stinks. But on a positive side, I'm really proud of our entire team. The pit crew did amazing. Adam brought an amazing car. Our engineers, our mechanics did really good. And it's something to build on. So yeah, I'm just bummed whenever they get away like that. That's basically Bell saying, we did so much right, and Phoenix still finds a way to punch you. And then you've got Denny Hamlin, who sounded like a guy who knows exactly where his team is right now. Denny Hamlin gets his first top 5 of the year, and he's blunt. Yeah, it's just a fringe top 3 to 4 car all day. That's kind of all we had. The 20 and the 12 are obviously the standouts there. Great job by our Camry, just need to be a little better. We'll download, figure out how.